Welcome to our lovely future humans, to the emotionally and mentally intelligent minds, because those are the future humans. After all, not only if we want to talk about that which is God, Source, Akash, Anima Mundi, the intelligence of love, it's always going to win compared to that which the lower frequency of, well, let me think. Those who think emotionally elite people don't exist. So, being yourself, it's the best advice that I will ever give anyone, but it is with I think it's the caveat, right? The word. So, I learned from science why a bunch of people aren't themselves. It's called fear, but the unhealthy kind. It's also why when I read scripture, sometimes every now and then I get told things that Jesus said, and I'm like, yeah, I promised to Jesus I would forgive. So yes, I already know my soul can't be killed. Definitely already know how not to have fear of God in an unhealthy way. And I know what grown-up manipulators look like. They are actually not buffooning any of the intelligent minds. Because seriously, intelligent, it means something to those of us who know, what was it? The Art of War, Sun Tzu. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will also suffer defeat. That makes sense. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. Well, I mean, really, it's a figure of speech, so we don't have to be concerned with battles the way, what is it called, pseudo-live people. You don't lose yourself, and you won't, to vanity, meaning that grandiosity and secure stuff that some people have. I don't use words the same way of dictionaries. I use them with a child, that is Maria, who knows I'm imperfect and flawed. In fact, I know my weakness. It's a very specific one, but we'll save it till the end. And no, I won't tell you my weakness. I'm going to keep it in my head. Oh, I shouldn't think about it because they might be reading my mind right now. Oh no, what shall I ever do? So when people are consistently watching their back, I don't watch my back because God's got my back. And I already told him I didn't see the Lucifer monster. If I ever do, that means I must have done something really, really awful. And then it means I will have deserved to get punished, basically, in this awful, monstrous way that these people who made up this no, they had a monster for something that's completely explainable. The Michael Stone forensic criminologist scale, every single pathology out there basically is not living the best life ever inside their body. And you can tell because they don't know what it's like to be anchored in their gooiness. It's called ventral energy. So attachment science proved to me, and it consistently does. I mean, I already was seeing it when I was a teenager, insecurity, because I was emotionally as well as any other person alive. The difference is I said I won't pretend to be mean because I'm not afraid of you physically because I'm going to not be around you if I don't trust you. And then as for crying, I'm a big girl now. I still cry like big boys do, and really it's okay to cry. I'm okay to be a crybaby and a scaredy cat. I mean, really. You think that's offensive? Because I really don't find it offensive to be a human. Oh, the anger thing. Yeah, no, I actually have this deal because my body's smarter than my thoughts. And so it's always having my back. Plus God, he corrects. No, he doesn't. What was it? Your life is your making. God does not interfere with it. Sadhguru. Thank you, Sadhguru. So when you know there's no enemy, it's because those who have vanity, well, they're empty, but they look amazing outside. Those who don't know themselves use words to say this is what I am, and those identities are really fascinating. No, they're not. They're just copying each other. Remember, we talked about this last night. While some people genuinely want authenticity like I do, and anybody who's a securely attached and untraumatized human being, it means I'm myself, you're yourself. With the ventral vagal state, there's no possibility for you to yet be yourself if your body's like this. Because every time you get upset, there's like double the doubling down. You're suppressing emotions that aren't come up. Your child part is shamed and defective. So you're like working really hard to make your master proud and happy. And then you're at the same time going against it. So it's like a whole confusing thing for the person who's doing it, which is why they have a bad decentralizing in the self-experience. And then they spread rumors that yoga brings demons out of you instead of noticing, did I just have a very awful experience and maybe I might want to go to someone who helps me with the EMDR chiropractic somatics because trauma charges are stored in my muscles, bones, and tissues like Peter Levine presented to a bunch of people. So when people are ignorant, I just made you knowledgeable. You have trauma charges, so do I. The difference is mine get uncharged because I work with my nervous system. And my 1-year-old, she's right here. So when you are not an identity, my name's Maria, you don't change because you consistently expand. Now, it's not proven, I'm not proving. I have attachment science, I have explanations, and I have proof from what I feel inside with my prefrontal cortex. But when people like to think that I'm faking it and that I'm suffering, and I explain, look, emotions last 90 seconds. I know how to use my prefrontal because I like open-ended inquiry due to the fact that I also am a mentor who supports people with the inner growth mindset. It's easy to not actually talk over my tears. That forces my body to develop strength and apparently courage. I don't find it courageous to be able to easily cry, but I find it pretty cool to also have curiosity. So when panic attacks come up, they're still the most annoying. They're very uncomfortable, but I thank the Therapy Nutshell lady for every single video she's put out since I began having more of them. And your energy body expands. So after Kundalini awakening, and some have two, then some have three twin flames, and we're not confused because God is good. He always chimes in, and I get to, it's a timbre. Yeah, there's no, when I said that our words start at 2 years of age, what I meant to say is the left brain is engaged, and that's when we begin to formulate something like that. So don't write down notes, but my point is I'm in communion with God because I don't need words. I just feel, and it's a feels first world, the first 3 years of your life. So if you want to know anything about yourself and a enemy, the reality is, where's my cards? Like Jesus pointed out to all of his disciples, do not fear anyone. Luckily, we're in a different time, but our soul never dies. In fact, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Now, the pseudo-life people like to create a lot of stories because they're in their self-righteous, contemptuous buttholes with their child parts still basically all upset inside. I don't have, Maria's fine, she's imperfect and flawed, I have no shame. So this is what it's like to be shame-free. And when someone thinks society still needs shame, you know that they were shamed and that they're afraid of human beings because they are not yet overflowing within their own humanity. I get just as irritated with every single person out there that is basically in the box of hurting each other, physically, emotionally, and mentally. This is because I love all people. It's not because I'm polyamory. It's because I said yes, Jesus, God, Holy Spirit. I love all my brothers and sisters, and there's no Lucifer. Then I became a mystic, and I'm like, we're all one big ball of energy, and we get to ascend every lifetime, meaning we get to do Dharma if we're following that frequency called the oxytocin gene hormone of love. So as you embody this, your humanity is not limited. The soul comes through that which you are. So when people do not optimize their most amazing gift, which is the flesh that they come in, by remembering also that they are sinners just like everybody else, so that means that you will not always do right because it's a subjective life. And someone's going to be offended by you, so you're not going to have morality or integrity according to the subjectively experiencing shame people who think that we should live in a world where it's about what is right, not what feels right. I'm thinking we're still in a world where it's about what feels right, effective realism people, and then they also bring with them their stories, and then they justified it with their pseudo-intellectuals. I'm pseudoscience. You see what I'm saying? So when you're intelligent, you continue to just look at the big globe and say, well, societal culture is actually changing as we speak. It always has been. You know, when Elvis came out, they cut his legs out. Now we got people half naked, but it's not the sex revolution or the polyamory community that's created what we are calling, it's also not a monster named Lucifer or a demon. It's actively trauma charges and people who are ashamed of themselves because their families, all of them, pent up anger. They didn't get to express their anger. They were suppressed because, oh my God, you're being rude in the supermarket. Let me yell at you for a minute. And no, not a minute. Like, let me scare the shits out of you and think that I just disciplined you. Sure you did. You just basically did this thing called making a person who's a little kid. And so when they don't want to believe in compassion, it's okay. Let me read to you. So knowing others is intelligence. Knowing yourself is true wisdom. Thank you, Lao Tzu. And as he also points out, mastering others is strength. Mastering yourself is true power. When I see people who are teenage versions of themselves, they may quote Lao Tzu. They know nothing of what I'm speaking. Or embodying divinity. It is our ability to transcend perceived limitations. Yes. You transcend any kind of limitation by remember that you're always limited. I always will only have a certain amount of visibility. 99.99999% is all I can know, so I will be used to knowing that there's this 0.001% that I won't know. So, as lovely Sadhguru shares, our presence here is just for a short period of time. We do not have to shorten it by fighting each other. Luckily, our lovely species is moving forward in life, and we are going to be doing way better. The people who think that they know what they're doing are fascinatingly entertaining. Those of us who actually do know what's going on, by the way, again, these are stories, so I'm sharing with you as a mystic and as a spiritual enlightenment soul age group, prophet, guru, expert yogi, all of it. It's cool. You do want to lift fingers because we all participate, but you want to do it with you stressed. The highest level of spirituality is when you get to be yourself, which means you have all your child parts. They're right here. It also means that you do not do spiritual bypassing. So you don't lose yourself to vanity, identity, or spiritual bypassing when being yourself with emotions. And that also means with your, I'm mad, I'm sad, I'm afraid, like the healthy kind. I'm surprised, happy, and disgusted. So you use your human name, and as yourself, you walk around, and you remember that genuine authenticity also means that you know how to tell the truth with the ventral vagal tone. So we don't do codependent type martyr, blame, or superior. We know how to go to the moon. We know how to explore Mars. Thank you, Sadhguru. But we still do not know how to live sensibly upon this planet, the priority. Sensibility, as Bessel van der Kolk points out, you can't talk sense to someone. So when someone is not stronger than their dysfunctional patterns, like my alcoholic friends and drug addict friends who have decided that as they're getting older, they're succumbing to the Pinocchio Island. It's not Lucifer. They all also have money, by the way, and jobs. They're not in the middle of the street. The ones who are in the middle of the street, they just continue to do what these people did, and then probably worse, just, the Michael Stone, forensic criminologist, his scale points out to 1 to 9. Yes, it's unfortunate business. So I have a solution for anybody who wants their society to thrive. The conspiracy theorists think that the society is being subjected to becoming donkeys on purpose. On the meantime, I found that my colleagues thought that the docu-not series that was shit of this thing way back when it came out was great. I was disgusted by it. They added music and a story that needed not to be added. As they brainwashed the entire people who watched it, I said, what shit is this? What hypocrisy? Where is the value? There is none. And there are people who said there were golden nuggets. I said, where? I didn't find any. I found disgruntled employees, hypocrites talking about virtual reality and getting off of social media. And I'm thinking, where was the value? Because they added this whole story in the behind the scenes that it was very clear that they were playing with your feelings. But then again, I'm sorry, an intelligent mind evaluates that which is good quality by noticing, are you trying to twist shit using emotions? Is this the propaganda? I'm not going to use big fancy words because what bleeds leads. I learned that in political science. That's disgusting too. I asked my teacher, did they lose the capacity to care with integrity about what their profession is? Because profession, I thought words meant something to people. Doesn't seem it means anything. You got lawyers who do cocaine. You obviously don't care about the law. So when someone wants to say words mean something, but I get to see hypocrites walking around, words mean nothing. They're just blah, 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 a way to communicate. And the ones who like to use them the most are the same ones who are the not interesting individuals, because hypocrites always end up becoming cowards because they don't know how to get up, because their dysfunctional patterns and their bad habits are their future. Like every day, your future is going to be you. So I actually we have a new podcast segment where I get to complain to you about my future, because I'm beginning this nutritionist diary. I'm already, look, my 1-year-old and 3-year-old, she's like completely upset about this. I decided let Maria's venting come out because, humanity, I don't vent about that. That's not my business. God told me to leave it alone. I leave it alone. I just take care of making sure that I can be effective, because you want to leave a good example to the kids, the ones who actually might be around tomorrow. And so as luminous warriors do, we are medicine wheels of ourselves because we love ourselves first, which is also why we're married with Into the Unknown, Resh, Darkness, expert yogis. It means something to those of us who know how to use our human secondary consciousness, it's called. But you also have a brain that works, and you don't have a monster in your head because you didn't have a monster in the home or in the womb. I have a twin, so I'm lucky because I wasn't all by myself. So I don't have this alone thing where I'm like, the bear's going to eat me. And it's called implicit memory, please. I have to use words to explain it to you, but there's no words. It's just I'm hugging something else. It's not by myself, and we're both mammals, so I'm just never alone, which is why I have a leg up. Is that the word? I'm lucky. I got lucky. So it's 0 to 9 are just ordinary people who get caught into horrible situations And they in fact end up in prison, some of them, because they end up getting into trouble. So those people are the reason why we have a whole group of people who are very sad for them, and they want all of smart human beings to understand we have compassion in the lead, because we know people didn't choose to have monsters in their home. We also, though, know that we don't need to pat anybody on the back. So if your maladaptive patterns become dysfunctional to the point of where you're oh wait, I'm so sorry, functioning alcoholics work really well with society. So while people like to talk about, social care being expensive, I think, well, why are we having all these alcoholics, medicine, there's a bunch of people who are just leading their life. Oh, I'm sorry, you wanted a quick fix. I forgot about that. Okay, so this is why when I think of broken hearts afraid to make mistakes, I just think this is so sad. All you had to do, all of these people, is go to Patrick Tian. He was 19 when his friend said, hey, here's a number, and he went to therapy. You get to see a bunch of people blah, 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 blabbing their mouth off, not going to therapy, and then letting you know how that they keep losing pieces of themselves because of heartbreak. And you think, Then there's the ones who say, how dare you not be suffering, Maria, for the killing that's going on. I say, yes, I know how to use my brain, and then I know that I'm 1 out of 8 billion, and that there's things called made for the people by the people, as I did study, again, politics. So when I found out in my master's degree what it looks like for people to actively think they know how to negotiate, I was very much disappointed. So I'm not surprised to see that people throw chairs at each other, which is why I'm not surprised that living sensibly is not a priority. Also, though, but believe me, I'm not afraid, because God always wins and there's no monsters in town. So while the ones who are pseudo-alive continue to talk to you about demons and monsters and how humans are limited, I get to tell you we're not limited. Well, not the smart ones of us, angels walking amongst us. That's all of people, especially the ones like Ruth Lanius. The whole goal of trauma treatment is to help people feel safe in their bodies. Oh, also, when there is no envy, jealousy, comparison, and competition within you, you can focus your full capabilities on doing what is needed. Thank you, Sadhguru. And when you know compassion, there's a lot of judgment that people have and not a lot of compassion. When that negative judgment and lack of compassion is on the outside, imagine when it's turned on in the inside. There's no place to go to escape it. Rachel Yehuda, PhD. So when people don't have compassion towards themselves and others, they look like an asshole. How to brainwash yourself to be healthy. Wow. So you have to brainwash yourself. You see that this is hilarious. I don't have to brainwash myself to be healthy. I'm common sense and know, as Hippocrates points out, everybody says they want to heal until discipline is presented. He also mentions how a wise person will know health is key. So we all have our lovely immature years, but there comes a point in your life where you realize you're getting older, and if you really do want to commit to that which is being a real boy Pinocchio, you grow into a person who knows moderation. Oh, by the way, without the body connected, it doesn't matter what kind of diet or sleeping habits you have. So neuroception, like Dr. Amy Pigan points out, it's not willpower or motivation. Being yourself means knowing your child parts, because your subconscious and conscious lives through you. So when you have people who are grown-ups, but they're all protecting their teenage versions of themselves. And the saddest part is that their self-righteous baton, full of contempt, has them being completely irritated. And that's where their unfinished business, so their actual projection, is all based on a pain point they share. That's why they feel transformed together. So like teenagers, they only feel strong as they pat each other on the back, which is why their words mean nothing to those of us who are aware of what is actively taking place, what has been taking place. It's called our human species consistently evolves, because we had a sex revolution, we had another revolution, we continue. So we don't need to use big words. We want to understand that equanimity, common-centeredness, is the art that is your body when it's in a love state, the frequency. Your highest level of spirituality is you living a life of meaning, connection beyond the soul self. So the word mystic, spiritual, enlightened, to me means an embodiment of a mentally, emotionally, physically intelligent human being. They don't have to even have clairs. In fact, there are scientists that are completely, like Thomas Campbell, logical alone, and they talk to you about entropy. And they talk to you about how you can live longer, I forget how he puts it, and that's the beauty of when you do know how to use the most precious gift you will have ever been gifted, your body, because your soul don't do shit without it, and you don't even do shit if you can't speak. Now, I know a lot of people like to say that they can do a lot. Everyone makes a difference, yes. But not being able to speak and mingle and tingle and walk with the people and talk to the people means you don't have anything that you are doing. Now, when we have people that are fighting each other consistently, we don't need to be in the middle of that, because it's Diego's family. We can be the ones who, from the sidelines, are able to understand how to address all of it, because also it's not that big of a deal, meaning that it always works itself out. Sometimes people want it to happen sooner than later, but as long as dark matter and dark energy don't implode, we're good. So expert detachment people, the guru ones, the spiritual masters, I know these words sound weird for those of you who are like, you're not dressed up, you have no fancy. Yeah, I don't have to have it. The dress doesn't make the monk. So it's the inside that counts, because the inside is where you get to perceive as you create resilience in your embodied brain. I don't know what it's like to have a body that sucks, and that's here. So that's why I'm lucky. I also do know that nutrition is important, which is why we're going to find out if I'm right or the nutritionists are right. It's going to kill me 365 days. I'm going to be learning patience. This is fascinating. So when you are happy to be yourself, you're always curious about your next opportunity to challenge yourself. You see, you're not challenging what you do because of others. You're not appeasing other people. You're actively appreciating, thank you, God. I give gratitude to the life I was gifted. And then I say thank you for my brothers and sisters. They're all equally adorable, even the ones who are in their bodies and completely screaming bloody murder and don't want to go and get themselves healed. So I won't present to them anything, because that's not nice of me. Thank you, God, for keeping me away from all of those people who needed me to not be near them, as my powerful manifestation technique, the flow state with the prefrontal, would be actually completely lighting up every single bit of their attachment wounds, which is unnecessary due to the fact that they don't want to heal it. And so again, authentic people, they're awesome. The ones who want us to take their sides, they will learn that we don't take their sides, and then we get to continue knowing how to build those true loving relationships, because we don't have a bad radar. And that's the other part about anyone wanting to tell me they're a good warrior of any kind. If you don't know compassion, you can't be a good warrior. You're blinded by your ego. It means you have no idea who anyone is, because you're so biased with a bunch of thoughts that you're talking over people. And you're talking over it all the time. And neutrality is actually misunderstood by those who are watching their back, like is kindness. So they're also very bad. They fail miserably at identifying the good people. And then they actually are attracted to the bad people, the ones who are like Diego's family. So that's why they continue to find themselves in backstabbing situations. And then they go watch people tell them 10 ways to watch their back. And it's like, wow, that tells me you want therapy, not 10 ways to watch your back. And why are you making such a big deal about human beings that are backstabbing you? I mean, really, there's bigger problems in this world than somebody being basically what is called a coward, and another person who's an emotionally mature person who could go get help. I mean, they're always doing the same. It's like holding on their hands or on their finger strings. That's what it means when you don't know how to forgive and know we're all imperfect and flawed. So as I grew up, I learned that being yourself is really easy, and that people who are envious, jealous, spiteful, competitive, and more, I just didn't realize how many teenagers I'd be hanging around with once I got older. I really didn't want to hang out with the teenagers by the time I was 14 either, but then I noticed that it didn't matter how many different times I expanded my herd, they kept coming. And then I got attachment trauma educated, and I recognized that it's because they're looking for these and I don't give these. And so as long as you're looking outside yourself for validation, versus you're going to be flawed and imperfect, not everybody's going to like you. 0-1-year-old, it's okay, you're going to like you. And then your amygdala, the 14-month-old, will always be attracted, if you're securely attached, to that which is of interest and open-hearted. And then when you get the unhealthy self-worth ones, you will not be interested at all. In fact, it's like an automatic shutdown. That's not even funny, but you don't have to add to your herd that much, because as you get older, luckily your time is limited, their time is limited. So you just continue to build a relationship with the people who are of our lovely 5D collective and 3D, 4D whenever they come around. human beings who suffer their own memory and imagination, well, they know what they suffer. They don't want to work with their prefrontal cortex, and we can't make them learn to be truly intelligent, which is to, learn how to handle their memory, implicit, explicit, and then learn how to handle that, which is called imagination. But we know our downloads, they mean a lot, but you won't do much with the Akashic record reading or tarot or any of the spiritual toolkit that even I have if you don't actually own your child parts. And so the child parts are essential to having you have a safe home here. Then you know what love is here, and then you know how to build true relationships and continue to invest in them. And that's why we might have a little bit of a late HP show. In the meantime, though, I will let you go. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good one.